The Witchdoctor's Eye Part 2, Chapter 2, The Price of Progress. Kofi staggered back, the Witchdoctor's words, "By your greed," echoing in the sudden, ringing silence of the forest. Amina was sobbing, clutching at his arm, while the two men who accompanied them stood frozen, their eyes darting between the menacing old man and the terrified elder. "What madness is this, Babazola?" Kofi managed to rasp, trying to inject authority into his trembling voice. "I have no greed. Everything I sought was for Oru's future." Babazola gave a slow, dry chuckle that sounded like stones grinding together. "The future, elder, or the fertile land beneath it? The forest does not forgive those who confuse progress with plunder." Kofi's mind flashed back 6 months to the River Valley project. As the village elder, he had pushed hard for the installation of a new state-of-the-art irrigation system. It promised bountiful harvests and modern prosperity. To fund it, he had negotiated the sale of a large, undeveloped tract of land bordering the forest. Land that the traditionalists had always claimed was sacred ground, the ancestral burial site. He had ignored the warnings. He had signed the documents. And 2 days after the city contractors started clearing the land, Django had vanished. "The contract," Kofi whispered, the realization hitting him like a physical blow. "The land. It was the only way to get the water." "The water brings life," Babazola corrected, his head cocked slightly. "But what feeds the roots? You traded the peace of the dead for the comfort of the living. And now the forest has taken the smallest and most innocent to remind you of the scale of your debt." The Witchdoctor picked up a small hand-carved wooden doll from the ground beside the fire. It was crudely fashioned but recognizable, a male child. As he turned it over, the flickering firelight caught on a tiny, woven piece of cloth tied around its waist. Amina gasped, recognizing the distinctive hand-dyed thread. "That is Django's. I sewed it onto his sleeping clothes." Terror solidified in Kofi's chest. The Witchdoctor had not merely guessed at the curse. He had been involved, or at least knew the specific mechanics of Django's disappearance. "Where is he?" Kofi demanded, lunging forward. Before he could reach the Witchdoctor, one of the unseen talismans hanging from the roof began to spin violently. The fire flared up, momentarily blinding them. When the light subsided, Babazola was gone. The only thing left was the doll, lying abandoned in the dust, and a new terrible sound. The distant, hollow clang of heavy machinery, even though it was the middle of the night. It was coming from the direction of the newly cleared River Valley project site. "The Witchdoctor is playing a game," one of the men muttered, his voice shaking. He didn't take the boy, he led the child to the danger. Kofi knew what he had to do. The Witchdoctor's curse was a message, and the rhythmic clanging was a direction. Django was not lost to spirits. He was lost to the consequences of Kofi's own decisions. "We go to the site," Kofi commanded, picking up the small, ominous doll. He looked at the forest, no longer seeing a place of peace but a labyrinth of watchful, angry darkness. "We find what the forest deems its payment before the sun rises and the contractors begin work again." As they turned and fled back toward the village, the opaque, milky-white eyes of the forgotten Babazola seemed to linger in Kofi's mind, a constant, damning surveillance. The forest had stopped whispering, it was now watching. "What do you think of this escalation?" The suspense is now focused on finding Django at the construction site before daylight. Should Kofi and his group continue their search, or will they need to return to the village for help?